All right, episode 9. So we get our first, to my knowledge, reference to Army of Darkness here, which is once he's told by Pablo that he just needs to go back in time, which of course is just Ball pretending to do this because if he doesn't, Ball won't exist, so he has to. So he tricks him into it. But he he references that he went back in time to the Middle Ages, which I don't remember any other references to Army of Darkness outside of the prophecy page where you see Ash out there, but we saw that in Evil Dead too. So straight up Army of Darkness, I don't remember any. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I am. As usual, I'm okay with you correcting me. Just don't be a fucking witty dick about it. Okay, be witty, be funny, but don't be a cunt. That's just not fun. And oh man, the line where he's driving drunk and he's, they're questioning his ability to do so in that moment. He's like, look, I may not have some fancy driver's license from the DMV, but at least I'm drunk. One of my favorite arguments I've ever heard about drunk driving. Hilarious. That made me laugh out loud. I loved it. So they go back to 1982, right after about driving through a drunk bum sitting there in front of a store front. And so when they come into the past from the future, they run into this guy who's like a businessman. He's trying to get home to his kids, and Ash hands him a bottle of liquor. And unless I'm completely fucking crazy, I think it's pretty apparent, but you never know. That was the bum, right? That was sitting there drunk, and he was like, it won't have any fucking effect in the future. So he was the one who made him the drunk. But is he? Or maybe that was his path all along, and Ash just put him on it sooner. But of course, the whole time travel thing, you can't really think about, because once they do ultimately defeat what they are setting out to defeat here in this episode and get there before Ash ever reads from the Necronomicon, then all the events would have never happened. So Ash would have never came in the first place. But even if he did, and we're gonna exclude that kind of paradox, the other one that it creates is that none of these characters that had died in the previous seasons would be dead, because these events wouldn't have happened. Even if they can retain the information and still be the characters that they are once the paradox has been created, when they went back, the things that had happened in the previous seasons would not have happened. So they would be going back to, even if they retain the knowledge, they'd be going back to a completely different landscape than the one they left previously. That's why time travel in shows is so fucking complicated, because you just kind of always got to look past the glaring plot holes that it brings up. Moving on, not trying to overthink Ash versus Evil Dead, but hey, that's what I do. So we get back to the cabin again. We are back in the saddle again. We return to the cabin once again from season 1. Now we're back here, season 2. Don't know. I haven't seen this third season yet, weirdly. I have seen all of season 1 and 2 before this, but I just never caught 3. So I don't know if they ever return to the cabin again. I will not be surprised, but I don't want it to become a crutch that they lean on, So let's just hope that that's not where we head in the third season. Unless it's awesome, it's fine. It burns down at the end of this one. So I'm hoping that's the last of it. But hey, maybe they'll go back in time even further. Who knows? But hopefully it's gone. It's done for. If they burned down the cabin in 1982 before Ash got there, though, then how do the kids in the Evil Dead remake, or as most people call it, a sequel, go to that cabin in 2013? Ooh, Paradox can't be a sequel. Okay, I just came up with that shit right now off the top of my head. All right, let's stick to notes here. So Ash steps on a nail when he's in there. His leg gets infected. Not wanting to have to repeat what he did to his hand, he goes to take, stabs his leg, and he tries to suck out the poison like a snake bite. And by doing so, he kind of has, the same thing happen to him that happened to him in Army of Darkness here, and he has a little guy that's starting to grow inside of him. So yet again, he takes a bunch of things and tries to put him down his throat. One of those being not a dick, people. Come on now, grow up. A pot of boiling water, which boils really fucking fast. And it's amazing that that place even gets electricity or gas. But there are people living there at that point, so it makes sense. It just is so out there. Who knows? But yeah, it doesn't matter. He puts down like fucking hot sauce and all this crazy shit. Puts the hot water down there, and then he spits this weird, gross, pygmy-looking fucking thing with eyeballs all over its body, and it's like, fuck you, Ash! And he takes a pan and he smashes it, and it's just gross, and I love it. And then, but I guess his leg's fine? Yeah, sure, why not? And, she already said all that. Then we go down into the fruit cellar, and that is where he finds Henrietta chained up, which Ash should remember that Henrietta was changed at this point due to what they listened to on the recording. But yes, that was 30 years ago, so I don't blame him for forgetting. But the husband here, he brings home this student to take possession from his wife into this young little girl, poor girl. Which is just so cool. And Kelly and Ruby are apparently at Hogwarts outside because the Whomping Willow is attacking them. So I'm not sure how long it's going to take for them to get from there to the cabin, but it very much reminded me of the Whomping Willow. And then once Henrietta turns into the Deadite there, she looks exactly the same. Like, they really paid attention to fucking detail there and made her look identical. And then the husband there, he goes and he traps them down in the fruit cellar. Once again, Ash is trapped in the fruit cellar with Henrietta coming at him. And we move on to episode 10, the season finale.